BLOCKTV, it's time now for Chain Breakers. Now, the crypto data space is at a critical juncture, with government regulators citing lack of transparency and clear data as critical to their inability to properly regulate the space. Numerous private actors accusing the crypto sphere of being run by rampant manipulation. So in order to keep on top of the market and find out what the latest trends are, we turn to the experts over at Coingecko, and I speak now with co-founder Bobby Ong. Bobby, great to have you back.
Great to be on the show.
All right, speaking of markets running rampant, potential for manipulation, whatever it may be, Bobby, the last 24 hours or so, let's say 48 hours at this point, have seen a pretty dramatic shift in much of the crypto space. We saw Bitcoin climb up nicely, now sitting around 8,600, but obviously the star of the show over the last 24, 48 hours is BSV, which more than doubled in a 24-hour period yesterday and now sits at the number 4 spot for cryptocurrencies. Bobby, what do you read into all this massive shift in market movement? What does it all mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of price movement, especially with regards to Bitcoin SV, BSV. If you look at the Bitcoin SV chart and you start look at the chart since the start of the year, Bitcoin SV started the year somewhere around $100 and then in the last 24, 48 hours, it went all the way up to $400 before recovering to around $350. This whole thing is mainly because there's been the center of speculation is Craig Wright, who claims to be the real Satoshi Nakamoto, which supposedly has access to the private keys of the Tulip Trust, which contains 1.1 million Bitcoins jointly mined between him and the late Dave Kleinman. This trust supposedly locks away the Bitcoin for 8 years, and Craig Satoshi Wright supposedly have access to it on the 1st of January 2020. So this is part of an ongoing court dispute in Florida where Craig Wright has to prove to the courts on the 3rd of February that he actually has access to these private keys. If Craig Wright actually has access to these 1.1 million Bitcoin, people, or more specifically, should I say, Bitcoin SV supporters are speculating that Craig Wright will dump all this Bitcoin to buy BSV, and that's why it's been driving up the price thus far. So far, there's no evidence yet that Craig Wright has been dumping Bitcoin to buy up BSV, so it's probably just rampant manipulation in the market to move up the BSV price. Expect a lot more price movement until the court proceedings on the 3rd of February, so we should see how things go. But this is part of the broader price movement in the market. If you look at the overall market capitalization, almost everything has been green in the last 7 days in the space. This, of course, has been driven by Bitcoin, but it's not just Bitcoin that's been going up. You see Ethereum and many other altcoins moving up by double-digit percentages as well.
Yeah, it certainly has been a dramatic time, and sort of looking forward to the ever-present May halving event for Bitcoin. Many see it as going to be a huge driver to the market. Bobby, do you see this latest movement providing that sort of validation to the theory that hasn't been priced in, and that in fact we will see a big run-up leading to the bull run and potentially to the halving and potentially beyond?
It depends who you talk to. Like some people will already say that the run-up has already been priced in last year when Bitcoin moved up from $3,000 up to a peak of $13,000, and it's now stabilizing around $8,000. But you may also argue that there will be a coming price run-up. This is probably a big pump in Q1. Whether you sustain or not is anybody's guess. Nobody really knows for sure, but I think May is a very interesting time because it comes on the back of the New York Blockchain Week. So it'll be something very interesting to look out for.
Mm-hmm. Now, as well, another key point in the market we've seen BTC dominance, Bitcoin Core dominance down a touch, down hovering around the 66% mark. Has the alt season begun, the much anticipated alt season?
If you look at the charts, like everything is up. Like if you look at the past 7 days, Bitcoin gained 6%, but look at the gains between for BSV 200%, Litecoin gaining 20%, EOS gaining 28% over here, Tron going up 15% as well. So Dash has gone up 100%. So yes, to a large extent, you can say Altseason is back. Of course, the question is how sustainable this is, whether this will go on for a longer period of time or it's just a short 7 days increase is anybody's guess. So yes, we should see how things go in the coming weeks.
All right, certainly it'll be one to watch. Exciting times maybe back in the markets after a quiet end to 2019. A bit of bump and play going on there. The roller coaster has returned. But that's not all we need to focus on here, Bobby. Of course, Coingecko just released their 2019 report, taking a look back at the year that was and some of the key data points and metrics that came out of that. Bobby, what can you tell us stood out for you guys as some of the key points of information coming from 2019?
Yeah, so 2019 was mainly driven by, was a very bearish market, and we saw that the Bitcoin dominance actually increased. So all the other altcoins was going down, and Bitcoin basically was the only coin that pretty much stood out, and it gained market share, it gained dominance. At the end of the year, between the top 30 coins, Bitcoin stood out with the highest dominance at 71%, and everything else sort of declined. I think in terms of the top 5 cryptocurrencies, XRP was the biggest loser for last year. So Bitcoin was the biggest gainer. It gained nearly 100%, but XRP lost 45%, and everything else. Ethereum stayed roughly stable at just a slight negative 2%. I think the other big interesting point to note was if you look at the stable coins. So in terms of stable coins, USDT, Tether was an interesting. So there was a lot of controversy with whether Tether is actually is backed 1-to-1 with the US dollars, and at the start of the year in 2019 as well, remember Bitfinex had a large $1 billion IEO raise of Leo token to basically plug the hole for the Tether, the US dollar that had been frozen by their banking partners. We would expect that Tether to lose their dominance and their circulation and their in the market, but what we saw was that actually Tether actually gained market share in terms of all the stable coins in the market, and they increased their circulation and the market share, and they actually now have like 82% of all trades, trading volume actually 82% of all circulation of stable coins actually are in Tether in terms of the top 5 coins, and everything else was sort of maintaining its share or had a slight decline. Some of them actually declined tremendously, such as Gemini USD, and it's no longer in the top 5 as well. The other big trend that we saw last year was the rise of derivatives exchanges. So we saw that there was barely any derivative exchanges at the start of 2019. There was mainly only one BitMEX. We did not track any derivative exchanges. And now at Coingecko, we started tracking 25 derivative exchanges. So there was a very huge increase in the number of derivative exchanges, and a lot of existing spot exchanges are launching derivative and futures products. So this is a big trend that we saw in 2019.
Oh, wow, it does seem like despite what some call 2019 a bit of a sleeper year, a bit of a year that wasn't, in fact, there was a distinct change in the market. If you move beyond the basic metric of price action, there were some real shifts in terms of development and the nature and direction of the market. Bobby, just looking forward to the rest of this year, which has already seen a tumultuous start, do you expect some of those trends to continue off into 2020?
Yes, definitely. I would expect the derivative markets to continue growing even further this year. So expect to see more sophisticated products being launched in the market. In terms of price movement, it's hard to say where they will go. But another interesting trend that we are observing is that the rise of DeFi, decentralized finance. So we expect to see a lot of these decentralized finance products coming up. And in terms of derivative products, expect to see them coming into the DeFi space as well, launching a decentralized version of decentralized exchanges, decentralized derivative exchanges, such as the decentralized BitMEX, for example. So I think there's a lot of things coming up, a lot of risk in terms of DeFi as well, with all the assets locked in Ethereum increasing. I expect them to go up to over $1 billion this year. But it all comes with risk. Not many people are talking about the risk inherent in DeFi. I expect to see some sort of a smart contract hack this year, and then people get scared and people start thinking about all the risks inherent in these DeFi applications.
And in regards to the SEC, we've just had recent developments coming from there stating that warning against IEOs, claiming that they're effectively just rebranded ICOs, a bit of a hit to that industry that was trying throughout most of 2019 to assert itself and didn't have that much success outside of a few coins on Binance. Bobby, do you think that's going to be a bit of a hit to this new market as it was?
Yeah, if you look at the trend, IEO basically was kickstarted, was popular in 2019 only in the first half of the year. It was kickstarted by Binance with the BitTorrent IEO, but towards the second half of the year, there were not many IEOs that were popular. Other exchanges tried doing it, but the only platform that did IEO really well was Binance, the Binance Launchpad IEOs. Everyone else had a few minor successes, but had difficulty replicating the success for the other IEOs. So towards the end of 2019, we barely see any IEO that was successful, and I don't think that would have any material impact to us at Coingecko. I think the ICO trend is over and the IEO trend is also over.
All right, well, a lot of trends to look out for in the year to come. So much to wrap up for, and as we've already seen, January has proven to be an exciting month. Could be a lot more happening down the pipeline. Bobby Ong, I want to thank you so much for joining us today to break down this exciting market. Look forward to our future discussions on what I'm sure will be a rollicking year. And for those at home, stay with us at blocktv.com for all the latest in news and information. I'm Asher Westrop Evans. Thanks for watching.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.